Welcome to the first post-game show of the Summer 17 season. I am Joey Zacco, joined by Connor, Ryan, Daquan, he likes that name, call him Daquan, and Greg, Tyler behind the camera. It is the Week 1 post-game show presented by Your Business Here. That means we have advertising opportunities that we would love for you to contact the league about. I am Joey Zacco, the commissioner. Guys, let's get into the games. So, we almost had history tonight. And that means not a lot to any of you guys because you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But the Brotherhood are back, and they almost lost. They probably should have lost. But the game went into overtime. They forced overtime against Central Chocolate, Carmine Santarelli's new team without Tyron Coward, who was one of their big additions this season. You guys will have to wait to see his blowout antics, I think is fair. And they won in overtime. 93-88 the Brotherhood did. Some questionable calls at the end of the game right here on Court 1, but that was one of the better games of the night. Definitely an exciting finish. What about the Brotherhood for some of you who have just seen them for the first time? What about that team and that game stands out to you?
The resilience. We had written their obituary, and you're right. We haven't been here this year, but I was just nervous watching the game. So much seemed to be on the line, and they made the big shots when it counted. They made their free throws down the stretch, which is even bigger, and Central Chocolate just melted under the heat, no pun intended.
So that's going to be a great name. We're going to have fun with Central Chocolate. I can't say it without laughing. But the Brotherhood, a name we've come to know. I think I mentioned this. That would have been their first loss ever. 24-0, now 25-0. They will never let you forget it. Anything stand out? Court 1, who else was on Court 1? Yeah, so I mean, you've seen the Brotherhood firsthand a little bit. Greg Horn, a former player.
What stood out to me was Mike Davis, honestly. His talent is just unbelievable. I mean, the way he controls the game, and it's just smooth, it's composed, and I'm pretty sure he was 6 for 10 from 3. It's just, he's just such an efficient player, and you honestly, without him, their team is just a different dynamic.
You're almost more surprised when he misses.
Yep.
I mean, you guys have seen some of that. Some of you will see it next week, but Mike Davis doesn't miss much, I think is fair to say. So the other good game now, both courts had some good games. That was Court 1's best game. Court 2, the Monstars, the defending champs, sort of a new look team. Again, you guys, that means nothing to you guys. But they took on the Throne, and they were able to squeak that one out 70-65. But that one also came down to some plays down the stretch. What did you see from the defending champs that kind of made you think that they were the champs?
Yeah, I mean, they came out with some strong effort, a lot of firepower right off from the jump, and they took a 10-point lead right after the first half. So I was really under the impression that they were going to carry this game and really just extend it to 20 points plus going into the second half. The Throne did not give up. Jacobson, Jean-Baptiste with 23 points. They fought back, and not only did they tie up the game, they took the lead in the fourth quarter. So, it really required some strong efforts from guys like Z-Arch and Corey Jacobs, who really dominated the post today. And, they really catapulted their team to the victory late in the fourth.
Some of the names on that team may be off. Not your fault. They mixed up the jerseys tonight, but we'll get those right. That's not your fault. Corey, we know Corey. He was nowhere to be found. Tyler Feldman behind the camera shaking his head. But what about the Monstars, if anything, quickly?
It's important to know that with the Monstars, right? You talk about how dominant of a team they are. We saw them from the jump get going real fast, real quick. But what is important to notice about that team is how lackadaisical they got on defense, right? They really took their foot off the gas, and they really let the Throne get into the game and get that rhythm. So that's why Jean-Baptiste had that 23 points because of how lackadaisical. So I think for the Monstars going forward, they just need to kind of keep that intensity up. But other than that, they're a great team. They got 3 guys in double figures. So very good team.
STP versus Redemption, another game on Court 2, 13-point contest, 67-54. Redemption in the finals last year against those Monstars, but they were able to hold off a new team in STP. We'll kind of go more quickly through the rest of these games. What about Redemption did you see? I know I was talking to somebody about how they execute, about how efficient they are, and how they play as a team, which is tough for some teams in week 1. But what about redemption stands out.
Just like you're saying, they used their entire team. They had 4 players today with a minimum of 12 points. So it goes to show that they're spreading the ball. They're not dominating the ball with one player. They have a team with a lot of depth. And their point guard, Scott Torchard, with 17 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals, putting his handprints all over the game.
Scott, well, one big thing to mention about Scott, he's a very crafty guard, can get to the lane, he can create for his teammates, and all that's fine, but he also puts himself in situations where he's turning the ball over, he's putting his team in bad spots.
Rusty.
Yeah, a little rusty. First game, he can shake it off. I'm pretty sure, because Scott's a good player. I've seen him play before here, so I'm pretty sure he'll shake it off. But these guys were fighting. They fought the entire game. So, and it's also important to notice that they knew that STP was a new team. They knew that they could get out, run and gun. They knew that these guys were going to get tired, and they used that to their advantage in the late going. They got out and ran.
So now behave. Run TMC 0-1. Something we're very familiar with. Tyler Feldman got the excitement going on. Too bad you can't see him. You're welcome. But Run TMC loses to Lob 203 by 5. Very back and forth game, very close game. So again, even if just a couple comments on that, but what stood out about that
Defense
one?
prevailed from the start. I think it was 10-10 after the first quarter, and then defense was the exclamation point. 2 huge stops down the stretch for Lob, and I think Run TMC had a chance to tie the game, actually, and they came up with a couple big steals, made their free throws, came up with another steal to end the game. So defense. I've been told it wins championships.
Yeah, right. I know the 50s is a little low scoring for me. I think that was a style of game that definitely fit into what Lob wants to do. And I know Run TMC, we're kind of called that for a reason. We'd like to run. A little slow today, new team getting used to it, but we'd like to get that in the 80s, and I think if that happens, that we're a little more successful. Flight Club and the Bad Boys, another close game. That was at 10 o'clock on Court 2. The Bad Boys were able to get a win, something that they weren't able to do much last season as Light It Up, and Greg Horn knows very well. But, what about the Bad Boys today made them successful?
Today was Destin Simmons. It was not even a question. Today was his game. He dominated. He led all scorers today with 42 points, and on top of that, also had 9 rebounds. So he's getting down low. He's also getting involved on all parts of the game, including the defensive part of the floor. And his dominance on the floor today was really felt on both ends.
Incredibly efficient too. right. Dustin was incredibly efficient from that 3-point line. I think he had 6 3-pointers on 8 attempts or something of that nature, right? So he was efficient. He was making his shots count, and he was a shot taker and also a shot maker today. But for Flight Club, the young team, very young team, their young guy, number 4, Brandon Gutierrez, I think is the pronunciation.
We have to ask him about his pronunciation.
Of his name.
Early.
That young kid, he got out going. There was a lot of jokes during the game about how small he was, how young he looked. But what wasn't young is his game of basketball. He got out there and he played like a grown man today. So he had a nice little 24 points. So.
Yep, definitely.
Nice. No Limit and Goon Squad, one of the higher anticipated matchups of Week 1. 2 returning teams. Wasn't much to talk about from what the score says. 92-57. We can go quickly through some of the blowouts we had today, but No Limit, maybe your first time seeing them. What about them?
No Limit, they definitely went no limit on the Goon Squad. Seriously, the Goon Squad, they didn't come out and put up a fight at all. It's important to mention that No Limit had 3 guys with 20 figures.
Yep.
20
points or more. I'm sorry, 20 points or more, and their leading scorer. That kid could play. Z Arch, 27 points. I'm sorry, Jalen Graham, 26 points.
Yep.
Jalen Graham with 26 points. But I think what is important to mention is Rashawn Hendricks. That kid can play ball. Kid can play ball. Defensively, 7 steals,
Nice.
9 assists, 6 rebounds, 9 points. Though he wasn't in double figures in any of those, that's close to a quadruple double. So he did it on defense as well as offense, and he shared the ball. He did everything that we wanted him to do.
There isn't much about the Flint Tropics in Fry Time. Nearly over a 50-point win we can do a couple sentences on them. I do want to touch on all the games, but we are getting kind of long. Flint Tropics in Pride Time, blowout.
Tyler Japs, 19 points. Flint had 5 guys in double figures. I think that's what's notable about that game. Is
Balance.
5 guys in double figures. We play a 4-on-4s. That means somebody came off the bench and delivered exactly how they were supposed to deliver. So,
Stranger Danger and the Double Dribblers, another game that we thought might get more out of hand. 69-57. Stranger Danger 1-0 to the pleasing of Tyler Feldman. But what did you guys see from either of those teams that you liked?
Well, Stranger Danger, I looked at their team effort. They shot 71% as a team from the field. So it's hard to lose when you do that. And Zachary Graham certainly had a lot to do with that. He shot 90% from the field. Only shot he missed was a 3. He made all the rest of his shots. So I'd like to borrow that shooting touch if I ever play.
Grahams,
sure.
those Grahams are no relations because they are both lighting it up.
Graham and Graham. It's the law firm, Graham and Graham. Moose and Sometimes Why, another game that got out of hand, 106-54. Team Moose, a new team, but some players that we have seen in this league before. Sometimes Why as well. Some players that have played in the league before, but a new team.
Sometimes L today.
Sometimes L. We're using that for the headline. Sometimes L. What about Team Moose? Did you like? I mean, they were long.
I honestly love Team Moose. I love their inside game. I think that they could definitely work on their shooting, definitely shape the gym a little more. But I think that their inside game and their post presence is definitely going to provide a big factor for them in this league. You see teams like, for instance, we were talking about the Goon Squad. The Goon Squad was never the best shooting team or anything, but they were big, they were strong, and they fought, and they had a lot of heart. And I really think that Moose might not be the most gifted team, but I mean, we talked about Stranger Danger, teams like that they give it all. They give you heart. When you watch them, they're giving it their all. So I definitely took that away from watching Moose.
And last but not least, Sportslook and the Untouchables. Sportslook a big win, 91-59. Another returning team. The Untouchables had some players from last summer, but Sportslook had Acevedo back.
He's a bad boy. He had 32 points. He actually had only 6 points after the first half. So the rest of his points were in the second half. He's 40% from 3, 60% from the field. Honestly, his presence with that team, they ran him out of the gym.
No turnovers either.
Yeah, it was an impressive effort by Sportslight.
I like it. So that does it for our post-game show. We have a new thing this season called The Hub. So every week we will be putting up a post that has links to box scores, game recaps, game highlights, the post-game show, the next week's schedule. So your hub is where you can get everything for week 1. So check that out. That'll be on the top of the site. Recaps for all the games, game highlights for all the games will be up Wednesday. You can check us out on Snapchat at Legacy_Leagues and Legacy_Leagues2. Twitter with score updates. Facebook where the interviews are. I know that those always get a lot of comments, so good job on those. And we will be back a week from today for week 2. Monday, June 12th, and I know we'll have some matchups to watch. We'll be doing a pregame next week. Check out the Hub. We'll have top plays, power rankings, and much more on the site, LegacyLeagues.com. For Greg, Daquan, he likes that name, remember that. Ryan, Connor, I am Joey. Thank you for watching the postgame show. We will see you in week 2 of the summer 17 season.